We've made this Porsche 997 Carrera S sound like a GT3, and we believe these are the best modifications that we've tried and tested with no drawbacks, and we're going to share the recipe with you. The Porsche 997 Carrera S. This is where my Porsche journey started. In one of these, it was exactly the same colour, Arctic silver, but I had a black interior. And that car I had it for 3.5 years, and it still is probably still to the day, the best Porsche I've had and had the best memories in. What we're going to talk through on this car is our tried and tested recipe of various modifications, because on my car I went through exhaust, suspension, other components like in clutch and flywheel, which I absolutely hated, which we'll get into. I did every modification to the car, but I didn't want to ruin the daily drive. That was my aim, because I was using it to travel to work and back, which was about a 25 mile commute there. And I didn't want a droney exhaust. I didn't want a hard ride. I just wanted it to be as it would be out of factory, but just a little bit better. And these cars, I think, are massively underrated. For what you can get one of these for now, you can pick them up for 20, 30 grand. This one behind me, as is, because we carried out all the modifications to it, sold for £30,000. And I think it was an absolute bargain for what you're getting. For the year of car they are, when you look at, like, I know we're claiming Nürburgring stats here already, but for a car that's a 2005 car, you look at like a Nürburgring time and it's 750 for this car. You go to something like a GT4, 981 GT4, the lap time was 10 seconds quicker, which isn't a lot considering the GT4 is 3-4 times its price. And also the tyre technology, in those 10-11 years, I guarantee you, if you put on a brand new set of Michelin Cup 2s on this car fresh, it would probably be on par with a GT4 or there or thereabouts. Every modification on this car has been carried out by ourselves. So we'll start with the exterior, go on to the interior, and then we'll get on to the really good modifications. First of all is Aero front bumper. I think personally one of the best modifications you can do. It just makes the car look a lot more aggressive. And on my 997, I did the Aero front bumper, I did the Aero rear wing, which is not far off looking like a GT3 apart from the rear bumper and the exhaust. This customer wanted to go for more of the classical look, and that's why he ended up with going for the old like Fuchs style design wheel, which I think looks great and it's really gone well with the ducktail. Now, this isn't your normal cheap £500 ducktail you can get on eBay. This is a carbon fibre RPM Technic rear ducktail, and it is incredibly light. The weave on it, I think they've discontinued them now. I think we were one of the last batch to get one of these, so you can no longer buy them. But these were a couple of £1,000, so they were expensive. But you know, if you're doing it once, do it properly. So yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the ducktail. I can appreciate it goes with the look, but it's not my thing. I prefer the much bigger Aero kit that come with them. That's just my personal preference. It's yeah, everyone's got their preferences, but that's what we've done on that. So that's that. But let's go on to the interior. So yeah, the interior wise, when the customer first brought this car into me, I was a bit 50-50 on the terracotta interior. But the more I see this car, the more I sit in it, and we have broken the interior with various bits, such as the Alcantara wheel. We got the gear knob and the gear gator done in Alcantara with the orange stitching, which I think goes really well. And same with the handbrake. We had all this trimmed, and we even put in a set of like black mats to kind of break up the terracotta, because otherwise it was quite a lot. And I think with these subtle little bits, it's worked wonders. And I actually really like the colour. I think the silver and the terracotta, a great colour contrast. And in here as well, we've added in the Apple CarPlay, which we've done on a lot of cars. And this is one of the like Chinese eBay special PCM upgrades. It's about £300, but I think bang for buck compared to the Porsche system anyway. That this is, let me get the key and I'll turn it on for you. It's a great bit of kit. Not about connected, but it does have Apple CarPlay, and it's a big screen and it looks a lot more modern. I've got the same unit in my 997 Turbo. The only thing I've done is I've painted this black and all the buttons black to make it look like a Gen 2. Make it look a little bit more modern.
But it's not that noticeable from when you're sitting in here just looking down at it. Like, it kind of looks like, you know, as it should be.
The thing I love about the 997s is they're very basic, but you've got everything you need. Do you know what I'm trying to get out there?
Aside from heated seats.
Yeah, I mean, that's a spec option, so that was there.
So that was, that would be the one thing I'd change, having now been in it. But
yeah, so there is, but that's something you could have got, but it's not on this car. You know, it's apart from that, it's
lovely. Yeah.
It's you know, as a driving experience, there's nothing else more you'd want in here. You've got the rev counter in front of you, the speedo there. You've got, you know, minimal stuff going on, but you've got everything you need. And I think that's why it's aged really well. Like the interior, you know, my 997 Turbo is a lovely place to sit in. And it's the thing I don't like about, not the thing I don't like, but the more modern 991 and the 981 is it's very busy in the centre console. And that's one thing I'm not a massive fan on, but they are great cars. It's like a, you know, it's a Marmite thing. But I do love the 997. So the main thing in here that's made a big difference, and that's for the engagement of the driving. This car has covered 97,000 miles, and it's very common for these bushes in the gear knob to wear over time because they're only made out of plastic under here. So we have upgraded this to a 997 GT3 gear selector under here, and they're made out of metal, so you get not only a shorter throw, but it will last a lot longer and they're a lot stiffer. So this now it's just perfect. Porsche got the gear change on this car so good. That's one thing they are very good at, Porsche. And dropping the GT3 gear selector into this car, it really just makes it a lot sharper. So that is one upgrade I would always recommend on 997, is upgrading that to a GT3, and that is one of our bits of our recipe that we would highly recommend. Now let's get on to the hidden magic button in the glove box. So the magic button I'm talking about is all to do with the PASM suspension, which is the button in the car that you can stiffen or have it in normal mode. Now, to upgrade the suspension, to get it more compliant, should we say, you've got a couple of options. You can either go down the route of a DSC module, which is about £1,500, which is a little gold box that you put in the passenger footwell. It's a tuned suspension dampening file on the ECU, and it plugs into there. It's absolutely great. I've got one in my 997 Turbo, and fitted with Bilstein B16 coilovers, it completely changed the car with not retracting from his original ride quality. So going for a coilover, got all the benefits of that, but I've got none of the drawbacks. With this car, we did go down a slightly different route. So we went to the KW DDC coilover setup, which this doesn't use any of the standard Porsche PASM wires or PASM computer system. It's got its own individual box, and you can connect through Bluetooth to it. And a bit like a modern GT3 RS, you can change all the different settings on your phone. So you could be driving down the road and you're like, I want the dampening more, you want the compression more, you can play with all the different settings as you go down the road. This setup was about £4,000, but when you add in the cost of a DSC controller and a set of Bilstein shocks, it comes to about the same cost as this system alone, because you get the controller, which you can fully adapt, and you get the coilovers and all the fitting kit. So that's what we decided to go down this road on this car, and it's equally as good. The Bilstein setup with the DSC controller and this setup, both systems offer the same benefits with no drawbacks. The only one thing I will say is the coilovers on this car, the actual bodies of the car, have held up a lot better than my Bilstein B16 shocks. These actually probably have done more miles and are about a year older compared to my 997 Turbo, but these look brand new. When I wipe them clean, the actual bodies of them, I definitely say, are a better quality metal than the Bilstein B16s. So that's the only one thing I would say that benefits the KWs. And this was paired with a full suspension rebuild to refreshen all the suspension. After 100,000 miles, it was well in need of it, and that's really sharpened up the car. So if you are buying a 997 at this age, I would always say, if it's not had a suspension rebuild, put it in your budget to buy one, because otherwise it's not going to handle like it should. You're going to get in it and you will not necessarily be disappointed, but it's not going to be the car you'll be expecting. So full suspension rebuild, the KWs, and one of our handling setups, this car is an absolute joy to drive. In the engine bay, apart from the exhaust, it's pretty much bone stock in there, because there's not really a lot you can do inlet-wise to have any significant gains. The airbox is good, the inlet's good. You can add in an IPD plenum, which we did do, and we did do a bit of testing on it, but we didn't find that there was any significant benefits to warrant the cost. And actually, when we had it, even mapping things out, we did lose a bit of low down torque and grunt. So we gained a little bit top end, but we lost quite a bit in the mid range, and it just didn't. The loss for these gains wasn't worth it in our eyes, and that was with a bigger throttle body. So we removed that back out, went back to stock, and we found that was a just all-round better package. We've installed a K&N air filter just to help it breathe, just to maximise the breathing, and we're going to get on to the best bit, which is the mod what I put on my car, which I would do time and time again. It put the biggest smile on my face, and it made the car have a personality, because from factory they are a little bit muffled. You don't quite get that flat six like race engine like you would as a GT3. But with this exhaust, which is a IPE full exhaust system, which included both manifolds, an X pipe, and then 2 stainless steel boxes and the tips, of course. It wasn't cheap. It was, when I purchased it, I think it was about £4,000 plus VAT. So it was a big investment for me. And there wasn't much research on the internet that I could go into to see people who have fitted these exhausts or get a sound clip. So it was a massive gamble for me. And I had gone down the route of design tech exhausts, valved exhausts, different manifolds, sports cats, went down the Miltech route. We tried everything out there that was probably, it was a lot less cost than this system. But this system, hands down, was the best all-rounder apart from the cost. But I'll let you be the judge of what it sounds like, and you can hear it for yourself.
Sounds mega.
Oh, what a dream.
Do drop a message in the comments to what you think of the exhaust. My first thoughts when I started up my car with this exact exhaust, because this was the one I purchased and I took off my car before selling it and I sold it to the previous customer, my face was like a Cheshire cat. I was not expecting it to sound so good, but it was worth every penny. And every road trip I went on, I got comments on how good my little Carrera S sounded on the events, which we have taken one of these on, we took quite a few cars to the Nürburgring, and the one that we do not name anymore, but
He who shall not be named.
he that shall not be named was in a 997 with an Aero kit, and I took a 981 GT4. On the few days up to the Nürburgring trip, I said that both cars were going to be a very close comparison, because the 997, like I said previously, I think is massively underrated, and you can see that in the lap times. I think it's just a great platform. But when we got to Spa, the 997 and the longer wheelbase, it was pretty much getting away from the 981 GT4. It was the better platform.
Go on, son. Yes, boy.
And it was very similar power. Admittedly, the 997 had been set up, whereas I think the GT4 could have done with a full Geo, which we didn't have time before we left. So there was a little bit of, there was give and take, but the 997 was the better platform on that day. So the reason why I think this exhaust sounds so good is on the standard car, you've got the left bank and the right bank, and the exhaust basically go like this and come out. So theoretically, you've got a 3-cylinder sound per side. The exhausts actually aren't joint in the middle. This system with the bigger headers and the X-pipe, it joins it in the middle. So you get out the exhaust tips a perfect, you turn it back into a 6-cylinder rather than 2 separate 3-cylinders. So you get the exhaust pulses coming through. And the boxes, they are a little bit smaller, so you do get a bit more exhaust note, but you get no drone, which that was the one thing I was worried about with this exhaust. I was going to put it in, I was going to love the sound of it, but I was going to get a horrible drone. But this is not the case with this exhaust. It is absolutely perfect. It's the right exhaust note, no drone, and I've dailied it for, you know, I did 20, 30,000 miles and still got my hearing.
Pardon?
Once we had fitted the exhaust, we did get out on the road, do a tune to maximise the performance.
Well, sounds great, feels good. What more could a gentleman driver ask for?
Does sing along. It does. I do miss that NA sound.
Yeah, there's something from that flat six that just really sings, doesn't it?
It does.
Even compared to other brands, even as well. And
yeah, it does. Yeah, it sounds. With this exhaust on it, just sounds like
mega.
It sounds very racy.
Yeah.
And I did have when I was in Clevedon once in my car, I think I told you this story before, but I'd pulled off the roundabout and I'd come down the hill, and then I had this van guy come up behind me and he was flashing his lights at me, and I was like, what have I done? And I thought something had fallen off my car, so I pulled over and I kind of like, not sheepishly got out, like, is everything okay? And he went, mate, that sounds incredible. He went, what exhaust have you got on there? And I was like, oh, okay. And then I got chatting to him. His name's Keith from Clevedon. So if you are watching, Keith from Clevedon, he did have a 997.
Nice. I wonder if he got the exhaust for it in the end.
He got a Gen 2, and I think he sold it now, because he did have, but previously had a 964 Turbo 2,
yeah,
which he sold for crazy money. I'm talking like, I think he sold it for 20 grand, and they're now worth like £250,000.
Oh my god.
So, but he couldn't believe how good the car sounded, and I said, oh yeah, this is you won't find many of these cars with this exhaust on, because they you know, it was a £5 grand exhaust at the time.
That is not the story I thought you were going to tell. I thought you were going to say about certain ladies recognising your exhaust.
All I attract is men in my Porsches. So yeah, but yeah, he jumped out and we had a little conversation, and I've seen him since he come down with his car. So yeah, it's everyone I spoke to always commented on the exhaust, just said that doesn't sound like any normal Carrera S, which yeah, even on track days just sounded epic as it went past.
I was still within range for track days as well. It's not over 105.
No, so it's like mid 90 decibels. So as well, I think at Castle Coombe it was like 92 decibels.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so plenty of room.
Yeah, it wasn't it's not boomy. It's only when you get up in the revs it gets loud. But with this exhaust, I did a lot of daily driving, and
do you miss it? Would you go back?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Great platform, great car.
It stood the test of time, like you say, 21 years old.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily know it.
And me and Adam were turning up on these rallies, and we were almost the peasants of the group. But there was no doubt in that. There was people there in their Lamborghini
Hurricanes and stuff like that. I remember, when they first come out.
Yeah, and their brand new GT3s, and me and Adam Adam's rocking up in a 987 Cayman S, I'm rocking up in a 997 Carrera S, and you know, they're both sub 20 grand cars.
Yeah.
But no one ever once said to us, like, never looked at us differently, or they held their own.
Okay, so for this car, as you know, the Porsche professional, the man, is there anything else you'd recommend for it, or is it actually like sit back and enjoy your car now? You know, you built your dream build. It's got everything you think is sort of the usual bits and bobs for a 997. So sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
This follows the same recipe that I went down, and I think it's the sweet spot. I've tried and tested a lot of stuff on the 997 range, and I didn't see the benefit, or with, like anything, I even fitted, this is a good story, I fitted a lightweight flywheel.
Yeah.
Lightweight flywheel and a new clutch to my 997. it ruined the car. I found
Oh, no.
it was below 2,000 revs. It was very juddery, and even pulling away because the dual mass wasn't there to dampen any of the clutch to gearbox difference. It just ruined the night.
You can't go too raw.
It was far too raw, yeah. If you're in a race car, like the 987,
Trailing that everywhere and you pull off and
Yeah.
happy days. But
when you're dailying it, or you're using it for a long period, I didn't like it. It was in there 2 days and I took it back out.
oh, fair. Wow.
So the lightweight
It's
flywheel
when you have the ability to do that. If it was me, I'd be like, great, now I've got a saver. Like,
to get taken back out. Yeah. There's a lot to the recipe that we've developed over the years,
Nice.
and
The Porsche mode magic recipe.
yeah, I
For
mean,
anyone that's got one in the local area.
yeah. If you do, come to us because we can finesse your 997 to make it.
It's nice, like all the mods, like, oh yeah, I've tried that. That does not work,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
versus just, oh yeah, throw it in, it'll be alright.
yeah, we're not saying it's right or wrong because
No.
we still get customers come in and say, I want a lightweight flywheel, and I talk them through it, and I just say, these are going to be the drawbacks.
That's what I mean, though, you got that knowledge to actually give it.
Yeah,
Rather
so
than just toss it in and then be like, deal with it.
yeah, and afterwards when people do say, oh, it's a little bit juddery, I'm like, yeah, it's nothing to do with the install, that's just how they are. But yeah, most of the stuff we carried out was really good.
Nice.
It turned out really well. Like this car, I would say my car was the guinea pig. I've done everything to it, and then John come to me and was like, I want to do this, and I was like, yep. And we suspension rebuild, yeah, you want to go down this direction, do this, do that, and yeah, we ended up with this, which is just
Lovely.
an absolutely fantastic car. Like I said, 30 grand. I mean, it's almost, on par with your M2, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You know.
Well, and having done the track day in one as well, admittedly that had semi-slick tyres, but I'd argue the grip was... I dread to think how much better the grip with this would
Oh,
be with
yeah,
additional shocks. I just think at Silverstone, the M2 was a bit like...
Yeah. And that's what I go back to. These cars, I think, are so underrated. If you put a few suspension mods on them, like this,
Yeah.
because the 997 at Donington,
Oh, it's magic. That's what everyone got in it. It did the whole day.
Yeah.
Had like Scott, you, me, abusing it. It just got in it and it was like not a problem.
yeah, and I think it was very, considering we were, like, these are 350 horsepower, there's not much more, I think we were probably one of the least powerful cars on track. Yeah, we definitely weren't at the back.
No.
We were
not
going
at all.
around
Yeah.
at a considerable pace for
An enjoyable amount.
a 20-year-old
Yeah.
car.
Versus, like you're saying, if I was like, you'd been kind enough to let me do a couple of laps in your GT3, I'm going to be bricking it the whole way around.
Yeah.
Like,
Whereas, this is a sensible.
whereas you can, like you're saying, enjoy the car fully without
Yes.
being so scared that, if I clip that or do that, it's going to be chaos.
Yes, an affordable. Is affordable way into a 911 ownership.
Do you see them dropping anymore in value? Where's the bottom for a 997 like here?
I think they're at the bottom, really. I don't think
from here
they're.
it starts to go back up.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the one thing people dread is the bore scoring issue, where
Yeah.
we've got to rebuild the engine. But I think that's with like any car. Like you get one of these, you might have that to contend with. But some of them have been rebuilt, so you could go out and get a rebuilt one for £30,000, and you're never going to have to worry about that. But all performance cars have their issues, E46 M3 subframe issues.
But it's what you're not saying is like, hold out till these are 10 grand.
They're never. I don't think.
That's what I mean. They're never getting there. So actually, you're better if you're considering it to scoop one up now and start working towards your project, basically.
Yeah, well, there was one. As I was waiting for you to charge the cameras, I was on Facebook, and 20 grand. Guys had it 6 years, and it's got the exhaust and a few bits on it for
nice.
20 grand with 100,000, which is near enough this kind of car, this similar mileage to this car. And for £20,000, you could spend a little bit of money on upgrades on it, and you're getting a hell of a car. Like, you've always got that. Like this, done 100,000 miles. It's 20-year-old engine. you're into unknown. But at the same time, you buy your M2, you get the turbo.
What's that? 30,000 miles.
Yeah, and there's no new cars cost you money just like old cars do. So there's no. So you have just got to be aware of that. That is one, not necessarily drawback, but something to consider when you are buying one of these cars. We've rebuilt a handful of them. They're not, but this car and my car 997 been absolutely fine. So that's all I can comment. Now, like we've said previously, we have done a lot of R&D on the IPD plenum, light and weight clutch and flywheels, engine mounts. We've even had a couple of supercharger kits on these 997s, which are absolutely shit. I would not fit one to my car. They are massively complicated and they never produce the power that they claim. The VF engineering supercharger kit for the 997 range, it's not what I would call a go-to mod. It's very DIY. I don't think they ever produce the power for very long. I think you always get problems with the kits. Everyone we fitted has been very complicated. It's a pain in the ass to work on once you've fitted it, because there's various brackets that bolt on the engine, and if you get an aux belt issue or you've got to get to the starter motor, you've got to take it all off. It's very crammed in there. It serves a purpose, but it's not where I would spend my money. I think you would be much better spending it on handling and just enjoying the car for what it is. And the cars that we've ran have never made the power, and VF support is never very good on the tunes. And it's asking them questions, getting answers is very vague and in a grey area. So that was my experience from VF Engineering. I'm sure they do good products. Maybe if you're in America and you can go to their shop and get it all installed by them and get it all up and running, you might have a better outcome. But from this side of the pond, it wasn't. It wasn't a great experience. Value for money, I don't think it really stacked up. That's my opinion. There's probably people out there who have better experiences, but. And lastly, the only thing I never got round to fitting on my 997 Carrera S, which I really wish I had, because I think it would be massively beneficial to the car, is a limited slip diff. It was one of those things I had on my list, but I unfortunately sold the car before moving on. I sold the car before fitting this item. But I have on my current 997 Turbo fitted a limited slip diff, and it completely changed the way the car handled. And that was front and rear. So I put a rear diff in it and I put a front diff in it, and it's changed the car completely. And I can only imagine what one of these would be like with a limited slip diff. Because in James's car, which we've put a 997 Carrera S engine in, which if you've not seen that video, scroll down and you'll see it there. I'll get Henry to put it in. So that was a 987 Cayman S, which we dropped a 3.8 engine in. But that car's got a limited slip diff and it handles beautifully. You can just flick it about and it goes exactly where you want it to go. So yeah, like the video if you found it interesting. Drop a message in the comments of anything you would add to your 997 that we've maybe missed or maybe we've not touched on. There might be some stuff in here that, we are a Porsche specialist. There might be some stuff that we just forgotten because we just found it a bit not as relevant. So to conclude, what I would do is buy a 997 that's between 20 and 30,000, but make sure I've got 10 grand to spend on it. I would refresh all the suspension to get it back up to scratch. I would add in some coilovers or better suspension. Refresh the springs and shocks, depending on what route you want to go down. Add in a DSC controller, because I think that dramatically changes the ride comfort and also the cornering and basically just the whole package of the car. I would refresh the brakes, just get new discs, pads, get some decent pads in there, and there's unlimited stopping power there. They're really good, the 4-pot brakes. Inside, Apple CarPlay, stereo, that's a great modification, brings it up to the 21st century. The short shifter, so GT3 short shifter in there, it's a £400 mod, but just makes the car a joy to drive and really engaging. In the back of the engine bay, leave it stock inlet wise. Get an exhaust on there with an X-pipe. That is what's really going to change the exhaust note on this car. And then get it tuned, because the exhaust and the tune will just go hand in hand, and you'll get about a 10 to 15 horsepower gain, which just makes it more smooth throughout the rev range. Everything else on the car, just leave as it is or renew. That's where I would go, such as like the engine mounts. Leave the dual mass flywheel and the clutch in there, because otherwise that would just add problems. And that really is where you're going to get like such a good driving experience for like £30,000-35,000 for half the value of a 997 GT3. So I think that is a real good buy for anyone out there looking to get a 911.